Live life how you want. Live life how you want. Not what this world or this society has trained us to be. You cannot find happiness in a world like that. In order to deal with the world that we are living in, to make ourselves feel better, to get the most out of the life we have here, we must live life how we want. And it really starts with us, because no one else can do that. To talk about today's topic, I wrote a whole thing. Like, when I have certain things and topics that I want to talk about, I have to immediately write it down. And I felt like this is something I strongly wanted to talk about, because I feel like it's something that has been helping me change my reality, change my perspective, because you really can change your life. You can change the way you view it. Our thoughts are our reality. Only if we believe it. What I thought was really cool is I watched a movie. You probably know it. It's called Soul. And I remember the first time I watched it, I didn't quite understand what was happening. But since I'm on this current spiritual journey, awakening this year, I watched it with a new set of eyes, a new opened mind. And I felt like it was giving me an answer, like I needed to watch it. There was no reason why I wanted to watch it. I could have watched any other movie, but I felt like I wanted to watch that. And that was, I think, like a month ago. And what I got in my interpretation of it is the movie Soul follows a man. This man is named Joe. He is a music teacher, from what we see in the beginning of the movie. But later on we see that he gets this opportunity to play in this jazz band. He must be ready, in a suit, prepared, and he's so excited. So excited. And on his way, he goes to this other world. He basically dies, which is what I realized watching it the second time. I was kind of confused the first time, but he basically dies. During that time, he falls into this whole nother world. And he gets to meet all these other people, and he meets this other soul there. And I like to think that that soul was basically the higher version of himself, the version of himself that he was going to be. Or when he fell into this world, it was basically him in a different form, and he was supposed to help himself. So he was basically a reflection of himself, and he had this realization. And the entire time, he really wants to play in this jazz band. He thinks that his purpose is to play in this jazz band. But And his mother would be proud of him. Everyone around him would be proud of him. And he finds out later that, and if you really watch it and pay attention, and this is my sort of interpretation, that was not his purpose. His purpose was to live life free and happy. Jazz was something that he enjoyed, or he was living through his father's passing, because his father liked it and he learned to like it. And this entire time he was taught that if this is what he does, if he fulfills his father's dream, his father's purpose, then that means he has made it. But that was not his purpose. And what I got from that and how I interpret it in real life, and I'm going to say I'm probably the only person that has said this, or this is going to be my quote, but we focus on thinking our purpose is what career we want to do. That we need to fulfill that to be happy, to make everyone else happy. Because that's what we've been taught through the society that we live in, to live for others, that if we do this one thing, that others will be proud of us, and then that automatically makes us proud of ourselves, only through validation of others. But to say that is your purpose would be restricting yourself, and that you are nothing outside of that. Our purpose is to be free and happy and live life how we want. Live life how you want. I need to live life how I want. Not for anyone else. Not even for your parents. Not even for your siblings. And this is sort of my quote that I came up with. Purpose is infinity to the things we do for ourselves that create this peace and happiness. That's my quote that I came up with, that I think is very much true to my journey and to anyone who's on a similar path, but to the topic of this video of living life how you want. Purpose is infinity to the things we do for ourselves that bring peace and happiness. To say that your purpose is to make music, that's your purpose. I would not say that it's a lie, because you can say that's your purpose, but you would be restricting yourself. You would basically be saying that you are nothing outside making music, and that you must make music to be happy, and you must make music to make others happy, to bring in money. But if you're only focusing on those aspects, you cannot find true happiness. You cannot create genuine, meaningful art. Something else that I wrote in here that I thought was really interesting, and something, it's how I've been feeling recently. We have one life, and we can die at any time, right? Any day. And just like that, we are no longer on this world, in this earth. So what would have been all of that stressing and living for others just to die, to be gone? And then you think about, man, I should have just lived for myself. We tend to have realizations after the fact that we've gone through something, and I think that's a part of growing and learning as an individual, as your own person. But I would say one thing that you can control is how you want to live life. And I could die tomorrow, and if I was living life for others, I would be more upset at myself than dying, than death. Some other things that I jotted on my notebook is it's sort of like this idea of what making it is. You know, we're taught through school how to make it, to secure that job for the career that we want to go to school for, you know, to make it. When you're in high school, you're busy being taught how to prepare for college. You must do this to get into college. In our entire lives, we go basing our life off of we must get in college to be successful. College is a privilege, yes, but to attend college is a privilege. It's something that everyone should be proud of and be grateful. But if you realize, like, it's a pattern. Elementary school, middle school, high school, college. Everyone assumes that after high school you go to college. So when somebody who says they don't go to college because they wanted to take a break or they didn't want to go at all, they didn't see a purpose, people get weird. And I realize, what is the matter with that? What is the problem with that? There's no problem. If somebody says they went to college and we're like, oh, that's awesome, that's great. If somebody said they didn't go to college or didn't want to, we should also have the same reaction. But it's because we were taught that going to college is how you can be successful. It's how I can be successful in this world that I live in, yes. But in my world, I can be successful doing anything. And if I have the opportunity to go to college, great. But living for myself is the thing that I need to do first. You know, something else that I wrote is, we are restricted on creating real and true things. Instead, we are taught to prepare for the big job in the industry. So I'm in film school, and this has honestly made me question why I'm in film school or if I want to do film. But I think, you know, sometimes I overthink a lot, and you know, I think because since I have to, you know, work and go to school and basically provide for myself, that I think I won't have time, but anything is possible. But I also think that how I feel would still be true regardless of my circumstances, whether I was rich, you know. It doesn't matter. In film school, like, my professors, not all of them, but most of them are just so repetitive. They keep saying this thing of, like, I'm trying to prepare you for the industry. I'm trying to prepare you so you can get that job. And I understand where they're coming from. You know, I understand everything. But I realized when I'm in those classes where we have to create a short film or write a script, they've said things like, I don't want you to make this. I want you to lean towards this because this is a short film and you have this much time. And what I take from that is they're so busy teaching us to make projects and art that is for the industry, that is doable, rather than making stuff that we want. And that's why what I've noticed is that and this is nothing personal, but in most of my classes, everyone has the same storyline. And I realized that's why, because our professors restrict us to what we can create. But also, that is not our fault because of the lack of resources that we have and how expensive it is to make the things that we want. But instead of professors working with us and figuring out how they could help us with our idea that we have, they tell us basically to completely change it. And that's more of a feature idea. you need to think of something that's more realistic. They're like, I don't want you to do something poetic or with less dialogue. I want more dialogue. He's like, you guys should lean into comedy or certain things. And it's like, well, what if I just want to create something that I want to create? Not what you want, because it's not about you. Again, but take this very lightly, but this is just my opinion. But I guess, what would be the purpose of any of it if not for ourselves? We all chase the idea of money, making it, fame, high position, high pay, but what really is that? What society has put in our minds? Do things for yourself. The fame and money come as a reward later, but in that moment, if your professor says, you must do this, this is the way, you do the opposite. I think in order to make a change, you need to do the opposite of what people say. Do things that feel right to you, not what somebody else is saying. And again, I don't want you to fail your class or, but almost in a way that fight for the life you want to live for yourself, not how somebody else wants to see it, not how somebody else wants you to live it. And that's kind of how I've been feeling, and I guess that's my message to whoever watches this, is live life how you want. Because when you die, nothing would have mattered, Nothing would have mattered. Meaning, people will still remember you, but truly, stuff that you created, it's eventually no one's going to really, care. Or I don't know, just, it's really just about you. And I feel like I'm getting more wiser and I'm starting to really think about these things, and maybe other people might not feel the same, but honestly, I don't really care what others have to say. I feel like what I'm saying feels genuine and true to myself and to others. And I feel like I'm stepping more into that power of knowing who I am, changing my reality. I feel happier, and I feel like I'm able to control what I allow in my space and what I don't. Some books that I've gotten for this spiritual awakening and journey that I've been on is this book called Signs of the Secret Language of the Universe. And actually, it said something about death that I thought was kind of cool. Death is nothing at all. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. That we are still. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always use. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity. I think that's how you say it. Or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There's no absolute and unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval, somewhere very near, just round the corner. So basically, this is death speaking to us. And I guess that last one's really stood out to me. Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval somewhere very near, just round the corner. Death. So don't be afraid to live this life how you want, because you're gonna die one day, and that's okay, and don't be afraid. And yeah, don't be afraid to live life how you want, because eventually it's going to come to an end. And what would have been if you just lived life for others and not yourself? Another book that I got was Awakening. I really like it. I think it's cool. And because I am awakened and I'm on my spiritual awakening, so this is going to be something really cool to, read, and I'll probably make more videos that will give me more knowledge to talk about different things, But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that this video finds the right people. Hope it opens up your mind, and live life how you want. Live it how you want. Peace and love.